Shalom. Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well and labour in this word and doctrine. Shalom, peace to the elect. So here we are, we're talking about the Lord knoweth, and that's a contraction of this scripture that I'm about to read. And then we're gonna hit a lot of scriptures. I just put up in the thing trust and Lord. So we're talking about trusting in the Lord because that's how you know. Well, that's how you get delivered out of temptation, man. For trust also is like confidence and faith. We always talk about confidence with fidelity. And then we say shout out Amawan or shout Fidel in English, like you have the man Fidel Castro that ruled or whatever. And his name Fidel, it simply means faithful or faithfulness. So yeah, man. Anyway, so this is 2 Peter 2:9. It says, the Lord Yahawashi knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished. So that means you've got two categories there. You've got people that are going to be delivered, and you've also got people that are going to be cast away effectively. That's why it talks about in Amos, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. Amos 5:18, it says, woe unto you that desire the day of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi. To what end is it for you? The day of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi is darkness and not light. Now when the elect are getting delivered, also known as the godly, the saints, the Israel of power, the Israel of God, when they're getting delivered, that's not going to be darkness. But like it talks about, there's two categories. We'll just go back. 2 Peter 2 and 9, it said, the Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished. So the way, if you've got a day of judgment to be punished, and of course that's not going to be light, but at the same time there was a desiring of well, let's read it. First let's read this first, because this is what the title coined by Elder Apostle Tahar, the day of looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, and that's taken from this scripture. So this is 2 Peter 3, and we'll read from 10, 2 Peter 3 and 10. Now look, the day of the Lord, the day of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, that's a common theme running through these things. So 2 Peter 3 and 10, but the day of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi will come as a thief in the night. It also talks about that in 1 Thessalonians 5, I think that's chapter 5 verse 2. It talks about various other places. I can't remember off the top of my head, but go look that. So this is 2 Peter 3 and 10. The day of Yahawah shall come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall be covered with a great noise. It talks about and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. So this is the day of the Lord. Now there's going to be temptation for all the elect. He said they'll even try to deceive the very elect if it were possible. Meaning what, it's impossible to deceive the elect. So praying that we're of that number, that's a mighty thing. It's impossible for you to be deceived. Alright, so the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. We'll read that, Psalm 91 and 3, and this is talking about the final, the final deliverance, or the deliverance from the final captivity. I say it like that because Israel and Judah will be oppressed together, pursuant to Jeremiah the 50th chapter, verse 3 and verse 33, 3 and 4, and verse 33, and we'll read the whole chapter. It's a beautiful chapter. With all that you're getting, get understanding. With everything you acquire, get understanding. So Psalm 91 and 3, surely he will deliver thee from the snare of the fowler. And a snare, when you go into that, and a fowler is someone that hunts birds. So you've got the fowls you might have in, I don't know if you did like food technology, or whatever they call it, wherever you stay or reside. You have a fowl. A fowl's a sort of bird, like I think a chicken is a fowl. Correct me if I'm wrong, but certain birds are fowls. And it said from the snare of the fowl. So a snare is, you have something, if you ever played like a medieval game, you have something called a snare, or a bird snare. So a snare would set that, and all of Esau's trick bags, all of that, the max, all of that would be considered a snare. Yeah, something to trip you up with it and trap you up in it. So it said Psalm 91:3, surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. And calling back to that, the idea of a snare of a fowler. Well, who was a cunning hunter? As there was, well, you also had Cain, who was of that same sort of vibration, if you like. But that's, Esau's got a lot of snares laid for Jake, man, so don't fall up in it. Back to 2 Peter 3 and either 10 or 11. So we'll get 2 Peter 3 and 11. Seeing then that all the, oh yeah, I didn't mention, the noisome pestilence, that's talking about a nuclear missile. And that's what will lick the earth. Primarily, or the most important one when it comes to this is Babylon the Great, who people call the United States of America. It's really the divided states, and it's Babylon the Great, and that's what's going to get destroyed by thermonuclear destruction, fire from the chariots, pursuant to Isaiah 66 and around 14:15, so on. And that's why it's known as the lake of fire. And when you read about the lake of fire, it's not some pit with some red guy underground. The hell right now is on earth with a red guy ruling. But the lake of fire, that's going to be what so-called America, Babylon the Great, the whore, is going to be as, because it's going to have so many damn nukes dropped upon it, so much fire upon it, it's going to look as a lake of fire. And that's what the Revelator saw. Yachanan, I believe it is in Hebrew. So 2 Peter 3 and 11, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? So what sort of people should you be, knowing that this whole place, or well, depending where you dwell, the whole seclorum, starting with the place, will be bun up and gone forever? What sort of people are you meant to be? Are you meant to be Edomite wannabes? Are you meant to be working on your own salvation with fear and trembling, and truly trusting in the Lord with that? So 2 Peter 3 and 12, looking for an hasting. Now remember, it said, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. But now read this, we have to read with understanding. Because you have certain congregations, man, they'll try and mix up this and match up this. And it don't fit in our fit, because they'll say it's wicked. It's wicked to desire the day of the Lord, apparently, according to him. Well, 2 Peter 3 and 12, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. I believe it's Revelation, the 6th chapter, that talks also about that. The 5th seal, I want to say. Revelation 6 and Salaki, it was the 6th seal. Revelation 6 and 12, and I beheld, when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. The sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And all of these, it talks about that in Joel. I believe that also talks about that in Acts. I could be mistaken, but it does talk about how it will be turned to blood. It says, and the stars fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. So it's going to be a mighty destruction, man. The Lord was saving the best for last. And now, when you look at it in terms of its degeneracy, in terms of the dream of the whole statue in Daniel, well, it came down to the sort of deadest materials in it, and they were trying to mix it up together, but it wouldn't mix. But at the same time, it's going to have the greatest destruction. It's even known as the second death. The first death was the flood. It talks about, as it were in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man. That's talking about upon his return, the day of the Lord, which Peter said he was looking for and hasting. Now with understanding, we understand that the day of the Lord is when Israel, or the elect, the true Israel of God, that's Galatians 6 and I think it's 16, it says, as many as walk according to this rule, peace and mercy upon them, the Israel of God, paraphrasing. So knowing that, when Israel will be saved, which means he's the prince of the power, when the true princes of the power are saved, that will be on the day of Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. So was Paul wicked for desiring this? This is Romans 10:1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi for Yasharala is that they might be saved. So there you are, that's talking about Paul's, well, it says desire. It talks about woe to you that desire the day of the Lord, and then it talks about Paul talking about, well, this is my desire, that they might be saved. Well, how do we get saved without the day of the Lord? So I want to give clarity on that. I don't want to just say, well, this is what it doesn't mean, without telling you, well, this is what it does mean. So when you go to Isaiah 5:18, it says, woe unto them that draw iniquity with cords of vanity, and sin as it were with a cart rope. So that's the precursor. He said that say, let him make speed and hasten his work, that we may see it, and let the counsel of the Holy One of Yasharala draw nigh and come, that we may know it. So there you are. That's the context. That's who's doing it. Now Peter literally said he was looking for an hasting unto this, and this says let us hasten his works. Peter's not wicked for saying that, but if he fulfilled Isaiah 5:18 and was drawn iniquity with cords of vanity and sin, as it were with a cart rope, then that's wicked, because you're saying, well, I can't wait for the Lord to come, and it's not going to be light for you if it's darkness and you get judged for it. So that's the understanding of that. Now, where did I actually start? 2 Peter. I got into a whole different thing, Salakia, but Lord willing, it was edifying. So let's read it from here. 2 Peter 2:7. 2 Peter 2:6. 2 Peter 2:5. And spared not the old world, but saved Noah, saved the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. And Noah was also a prophet. He was prophesying that this great destruction was going to come upon the earth, and people laughed at him. So the ark, when you look in the word ark, the edifice that's being raised up or built up in this time is the tabernacle of David, and that starts with the elect of the nation of Israel. And that's what's being built in this time, and people are still scoffing, mocking when certain prophecies are revealed unto them, or the interpretation thereof is given. They'll scoff and mock, and that's what it talks about, as in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man. And just a real quick point, the earth, it didn't rain before that. If you have Genesis 2:5, and every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi, power, had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. Oh wow. Just let this wind pass. Alright, so, and then it says Genesis 2:6, but there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. So that's how it used to get wetted up. That's how plants used to grow. The rain was not yet caused. No, there was rain, and there was a hella amount. That's for Judah. There was a hella amount. So much rain that it tells you in 2 Peter 2, I think it is. It talks about the like figure wearing to baptism. I'm not sure what that is. Anyway, that's all beside the point as well. It talks about how the like figure of baptism is not the putting away the filth of the flesh, but a good conscience towards Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. And that's another proof of what the true baptism actually is. The true baptism. So 2 Peter 2:5, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. And there was 5. I can't remember them off the top of my head. But go and look at that. They were the main ones that always get mentioned, but there's actually 5. And it was a city in Canaan, which is like sort of never eat shady wheat, west of the so-called Middle East in this dispensation. It says 2 Peter 2 and 6. And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned. But it depends who defines that. Anyway, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample unto those that after should live ungodly. And that's not why, but that's a reason on why this so-called America, which is Babylon the Great, is going to have to go out by fire. It's like they didn't get the memo, although they did. That's the thing. The Lord set it up in a way where every courthouse, at least at some point, or let me say most courthouses, had Bibles in them. It's also in your money. It says in halalyam, or in God we trust. But then you have to ask, well, which God? Which God do you trust in? And that brings us nicely onto the point of trusting in the Lord, which is sort of the second part. Let me just do this. I'll leave that there. Bear with me, Salah. Right, apologies. Now I'm here. Alright, so 2 Peter 2 and 6. And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemn them with an overthrow, making them an ensample unto those that after should live ungodly. Just catch my breath. He said, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. And that's where we find ourselves today, in the same lot as Lot. I get frustrated on a day-to-day, because you know how true order, biblical order, is set up. But at the same time, you have to balance that with understanding, well, the Lord set these people up, contrary to ETT or whatever. Well, no, it's not the minister. It is the minister. It says the wicked. Psalm 17 and 13, the wicked is thy sword. Alright, so 2 Peter 2 and 8, for that righteous man dwelling among them, in seeing and hearing vex his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. Again, that's where we should find ourselves, or hope to be, counted as righteous. But understanding the unlawful deeds, the diverse manner of governance upon this earth that has made everyone go off and drink of that wine. 2 Peter 2 and 9, and this is the meat of it, said, the Lord knoweth how to deliver the Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness, and despise government. They despise government, and that's not talking about, if you despise Esau's government. Talking about ruler. We'll get the word. Well, not. In fact, you look at the word. Look at the word in the English and the Greek. It said, presumptuous are they, self-willed. They are not afraid to speak evil of dignities. They're not afraid. They're brute beasts. How Jude called them, brute. Oh, there they are. 2 Peter 2 and 12. But these as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption. Let's see if Jude did say that. I thought he said something similar, but I could have just misquoted it. There they are. Right, Jude 1 and 10, or Jude 10, because there's only one chapter of Jude. But these speak evil of those things which they know not, but what they know naturally as brute beasts, in those things they corrupt themselves. That's perfect. I was thinking of that, and it's actually in the chapter. And we'll leave it there for now, because I'd not really actually planned to go into that. I just wanted to. That's crazy. Man's goings are of the Lord. How then can a man consider his own way? So 2 Peter 2 and 9, the Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished. And that's what it's all about. They're being delivered out of temptation. That's what we're waiting on, deliverance. It's all about edification, and of course exhortation, as Elder Apostle Gabar says. But The only reason we do, not the only reason, when I say the main thing we're looking for is of course the beast mark, which is the RFID microchip coming from America, which is known as that beast in Revelation 13 and 11. And of course this time, the time of Jacob's trouble, which there will be, contrary to again to congregations and camps that teach contrary or try and backpedal or whatever. There will be a time of Jacob's trouble. There'll even be a tribulation to try a lot of people. So this is Revelation 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. And you've got a mirroring of that. It said, Revelation 3 and 10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. And there you are, that's known as the hour of temptation. We just read about how the Lord will deliver the godly out of temptation, but he will condemn those that are preordained, that are set up for that. So I just searched up trust Lord, and we're going to get some scriptures on it. So this is Ruth chapter 2 and verse 12. I think it's Boaz speaking. It said, Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi, recompense thy work, and a full reward be given of thee. Salachia. Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi, recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee of Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi, power of Yasharallah, under whose wings thou art come to trust. I think that is talking about Ruth. Yep. So how much more so the Israelites that get deliverance? Because you can go into this, well, Ruth got a blessing, this person got this. Well, they didn't get co-heirship and eternal rulership, which is salvation, beamed up in the chariots, new bodies, the laws in their hearts, they literally can't sin. None of these, all of them were promised to Israel. There's no way around it. You can squirm and squeal and try wriggle out of it. It not go some, man. This is 2 Samuel 22 and 31. As for power, his way is perfect. The word of Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi is tried. He's a buckler to all them that trust in him. I believe a buckler is sort of like a small shield that you may have in an ancient day. But again, look that. Psalm chapter 4 verse 5. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. And that should remind you of what the sacrifice is. Psalm 51 and 17. It says, the sacrifices of halalyam are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart, O power, thou wilt not despise. Salaki, thou wilt not despise. It talks about how the Lord has more pleasure in obedience than sacrifice. That's what it's taught. It does go on, and it says, well, let's read that. Psalm 51 and 19. Then shall thou be pleased with the sacrifices. Oh no, sorry. I'll just read it in English. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. O God, thou wilt not despise. Do good in thy good pleasure unto Zion. Build thou the walls of Jerusalem. Then shalt thou be pleased with the sacrifices of righteousness, with burnt offering and whole burnt offering. Then shall they offer bullocks upon thine altar. And we know, for in terms of sin offerings for the Israelites, that's not going to take place in the kingdom, because there's been one who needeth not daily to offer up. And that's Hebrews 7:27. So Hebrews 7 and 26. For such an high priest became us, who is holy, harmless, undefiled, separate from sinners, and made higher than the heavens, who needeth not daily, as those high priests, to offer up sacrifice, first for his own sins, and then for the people's. For this he did once, when he offered up himself. And that says first for his own sins, and then for the people's. So first for his, and then the people's. This he did once, proving what they had sins in past lives. Yep, reincarnation. No way around that. But that's our priest. That is our high priest. And that is our sacrifice, our perfect Pesach. It talks about how Yahawashi is the lamb without spot nor blemish. This is Psalm chapter 9 and 10. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee, for thou, Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. And you hear that for certain groups that know thy name, they'll say, oh, the name's not important, or the name's this. I call them different names. I call them this name on this day, this name on that day. Well, when in the day of Jacob's trouble, in the hour of temptation, who are you going to call upon? This is Psalm 18 and 2. Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my power, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation and my high tower. Again, it's talking about buckler. Oh, salah. Psalm 20 and 7. Some trust in chariots, and that's not talking about the heavenly chariots. That's more so like horse-drawn carts. It said some trust in chariots and some in horses. So that's the context. But we will remember the name of Yahawah, our power. We'll remember that. But the group seem to have forgot it and concealed it. Deuteronomy 32 and 3 says to publish the name, not to conceal it. Psalm 22 and 8, and this is talking about Yahawashi and how the other people were mocking him. There's many parallels you can go through. Psalm 22 is a whole video in itself, truly. Psalm 22 and 8, he trusted on Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi that he would deliver him. Let him deliver him, seeing he delighted in him. And that will, for whoever it's ordained for, that will. Psalm 31 and 6, I have hated them that regard lying vanities, but I trust in Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. So this is where your trust must be, man. This is where your trust have to be, because the Lord knows how to deliver the godly out of temptations. And that comes from trust, from confidence, from faith, man. So this is the last one I'll get. It said, Psalm chapter 40 verse 4, Blessed is the man that maketh Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi his trust, and respecteth not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies. So there you are. I pray that was edifying. On to the next one, Lord willing. Giving all praises to Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi, bahasham Rakha Kodash. Shalom.